Welcome, everyone to In the Loop Lupus Live with Lupus in Color. I'm so excited to be with you here today. I have been running all day. Whew, y'all, it's been a whirlwind of a day, but I'm here and we are here to talk to another lupus warrior. And we're going to also be discussing mental health as this is Mental Health Month as well. So, good evening, everybody. Come on in the room, have a seat, get you some coffee or get you a cup of water, and we'll be getting started in a few moments. I'm still looking to see if Chanel is on yet, and she's not. But when she comes on, I will definitely pull her up. So, in the meantime and in between time, let us go over the house rules for this evening. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So if you see me going back and forth looking, that's what I'm doing. So let's get over these house rules and then we can start until Chanel comes on. And I will do the house rules while I see her popping on in a few minutes. So the information or answers provided during Lupus in Color videos and live events are not meant to be used as a substitute for professional medical advice. The information contained in any video or live event is not intended to recommend the self-management of health problems or wellness. It is not intended to endorse or recommend any particular type of medical treatment. Should any attendee have any health care related questions, promptly call or consult your physician or healthcare provider. Persons accessing this information assume full responsibility for the use of the information and understand and agree that Lupus in Color or its presenters are not responsible or liable for any claim, loss, or damage arising from the use of the information. So we've got those house rules out of the way. You know, I always have to do that because I want to make sure that you all are staying safe. I want to make sure that you are still communicating well with your doctor and advocating for yourself on your end. So I see that Chanel has logged on, and I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time today. So I'm definitely going to bring her up in a minute, and then we can start talking. Give me 1 minute. Let me make sure I got everything up here. It's supposed to be up. Get these comments looking for me. Okay. And here we go.
Can you hear me okay?
Hey, Chanel.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. You sound like you're a little far away, but that's okay.
Okay, here, you know what? Let me take out my be easier. Okay, can you hear me better
Oh,
now?
much better. Much
Much
better.
better. Okay, good. Good to hear. Okay, let me just grab my
Awesome.
chair real quick. Sorry, I was having some technical difficulties.
That is all right. It would not be a good day without the technical difficulties.
Yes. Is today a
Yeah,
good lupus day for you?
it has been. I'm a little tired because I've been running all day,
Yeah.
but it's not bad at all.
Good. Yeah.
Now, you might hear some feedback or you might hear you might see it lag a little bit. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
It'll speed up in no minute.
Okay,
Oh,
no worries.
how are you?
I'm I'm good. I have been trying to rush. It's been a crazy day today. I have my niece on summer break and promised her I'd take her to the pool and yeah, just a lot going on today. But other than that, it's been pretty good. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So let's get right into it.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me when you were diagnosed with lupus, and
Okay.
give us a little bit about your story.
Yeah, so my name is Chanel. I go by Coco Chanel Adair. I spent my most of my life modeling off and on. Did a lot of published magazines. Wasn't published in like things like XXL and things like that. Also was a social media manager for oh gosh, I probably say about 8 years. And I actually used to host chats. I used to host stock and crypto chats on Twitter, and well now X. And I actually did spaces when they had just started on Twitter. So that was, I was one of the very first hosts that used to host stock and crypto chats. I was published in Investor Place for my chats. And from doing stock and finance chats, I decided to, use my platform to spread awareness about lupus, and also, just to give people a place to come and talk, especially about mental health. I felt that mental health was actually a very underrated topic in the lupus community that just kind of wasn't talked about enough, because people, nobody gives you a handbook when you get diagnosed with lupus. It's a very scary, thing. And a lot of times, initially, when you go online, the things that you see are scary and really sad and depressing. And so it becomes overwhelming with emotions and how to process it, and what is going to happen to me, what's going to happen to my life, and nothing could truly prepare you for what you're going to go through, because it is a lot. A little bit about my lupus experience. I started showing symptoms when I was 18. I actually started off with having stomach issues, which isn't a very common lupus symptom, but I will get more into that later. So, I started off with stomach problems, then it started with rheumatoid problems. I used to work in real estate. I was in title and escrow for a long time. And one of my main, duties was sending out hundreds of emails a day. And so I started noticing weird things, just not being able, real severe pain in my hands. My hands would literally turn into a claw, like at times, like just get stuck. And I was like, oh man, maybe I have really bad, arthritis or carpal tunnel. And, over the years, I started going in and out of the hospital anywhere from 2 to 10 times a year. And this went on for till I was 26. And it was extremely exhausting. I was going to my doctor saying, what is going on? Like, what, can you please help me figure out what's going on? And because at first I didn't have typical lupus syndrome symptoms, it was actually really hard for them to diagnose me. Then later came more symptoms, brain fog, just a really hard time concentrating. The fatigue was just debilitating, and it's a fatigue that, sleep doesn't cure. It's something that, you could, lay down all day long and not be able to sleep. And,
Right.
it was something that it was so weird. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I couldn't figure it out. And I was very frustrated. And after a few years of this going on and just having chronic problems, I decided, you know what? I have to take matters into my own hands. I have to be my own advocate. I have to be my own, do my own research. I need to go and figure out what to do. I need to go get second, third, fourth, fifth opinions. I need to figure it out. One thing I've realized with doctors is you have to push them to do their job. It's unfortunate that many doctors are that way, but they kind of are, unless you're really advocating for yourself and your health, they do tend to kind of fall back, and they won't really do as many things as that they could to try to figure out what's going on. So I spent probably 2 to 3 years just researching every possible symptom connected, to different illnesses. And it went on for a few years, and I came across lupus, and I said, I got a lot of these symptoms. And as a lot of people with lupus know, those symptoms can mimic, be connected to other illnesses too. So sometimes it's hard to tie it down to one. I had, probably at the time, 8 out of the 10 symptoms. And then over time, I developed the ninth symptom. And then when I was 26, so back in about 2013, or sorry, 14, I had miscarried. I miscarried first at 8 weeks. And then the second time, I miscarried at 21 weeks. And the second time I told the doctor, I said, I'm not leaving this hospital until you test me for lupus. I'm positive it's what I have. This was the 10th symptom. I know this is it. So they actually had referred me to UCSF, which, if you have lupus, if you live in the Bay Area, they are a godsend. They saved my life twice, and I will forever be thankful to UCSF because of the amazing doctors that they have. And what's great about them is that no one doctor can make a decision there. They literally have a team of doctors, so nobody can have a God complex. Nobody can sit and think that they know better than the other person. They really consult with each other, and they will even call to other, hospitals and consult with other experts in lupus. And so they are fantastic.
Awesome.
But after some time, they did diagnose me with lupus. And over time, I got diagnosed with several types of lupus. And so that was, when I first was learning about it, I just was like, wow, there's so much kind of negative stuff on here, like where there has to be some kind of glimmer or hope,
Yeah.
seeing stuff where it's like, there's no cure, it's lifelong, you can deal with it forever. And it felt really discouraging. And one of the things that, I was a big advocate for is giving people hope and giving people the ability to know that they're not alone. They have
Right.
resources, they have the ability to still have a beautiful, blessed life, but that it does require some work. It requires
Mm,
patience, and that you really do just have to be your own advocate.
yeah.
Those days where you're having a rough lupus day, don't put them to waste. You have to sit and research and, go find new doctors, go find new ways to help yourself.
Yeah.
Um,
I love the
but
fact I love the fact that you say no. Now you can't hear me. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
I love the fact that you said that you have to do the work.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It's so
Because
important.
these doctors, they, unless you're kind of kicking them in the butt, they're really not going to go above and beyond. They need to know that you're just as serious about it as, the next person. So, and that was one of the things that I have done. And I have spent, I had to stop working in, I want to say about 2017, 2018. And so I had two strokes. I had my
Mm,
first one in 2000, let's see, 16. And then the next one I had in 2017, so a year later.
wow.
And so I had two series of mini strokes. So it was a series of strokes, mini ones, all within a short time frame.
Mm,
Um, I had to learn to walk again. I had to learn to, use my left side and my left functions again. I went through chemotherapy both times after each stroke because the lupus flares were just so bad. I had, I was very swollen with the edema, from the very high doses of, steroids. And, in total, each time that I was in the hospital, I was there 3.5 months. So,
mm,
in total, I spent about 7 months straight in a hospital, and that was, very difficult, stuck in a hospital bed for even a week feels like a year. I mean, time goes
right.
by so slow. You're not going anywhere. You're not doing anything. You're very reliant on other people. And, for people that get diagnosed with lupus who are highly independent, I feel that they typically struggle the most from mental health issues because it is very hard to go from relying on yourself to,
Mhm.
having to rely on everyone around you.
Yeah.
So there's, several things that are just kind of very difficult when you're going into it. But with the right tools and the right resources, I do believe that there's so many things that people can access and use in order to keep a good mental well-being during, this process, because it is a process. You go through stages almost as if you've lost a loved one because losing the old you that you know, and you're
Mhm.
having to come to terms with you are a new version of yourself, and it doesn't make you worse, it doesn't make you anything less than, it just means you have to adjust
Yeah.
and learning to be patient with yourself. And I can say, I'm, quite a ways into my lupus journey, and I'm still learning to be patient with myself. I'm still
Sure, sure.
learning to, understand it's okay to grieve what used to be.
Mhm.
And, understanding that it doesn't mean that your whole life stops, maybe temporarily, but you can pick right back up and still do fun things, do what you want to do, but in moderation. Um,
Absolutely. It's all about balance, right?
it is. It is. And, uh, you know, for me, I used to be somebody who used to work 2, 3 jobs. I was constantly on the go. And so it was very difficult, because I had always had my own money, my own everything. And so it was really difficult when I had to switch and go over, to, oh, wow, I can't work. I have to be home and I have to rest and, you know, uh, just adjust my life. And, I've learned to do it, but as I said, it's a journey. You have
Yeah.
to be patient with yourself.
Yeah,
You know,
and I like how you said you had to adjust.
you do.
You had to adjust your life. How did you work to adjust your mindset?
So the mindset is, in my opinion, probably one of the biggest challenges for lupus patients. Physical stuff we understand is always going to be a challenge off and on good days or bad days, but the mental health is your biggest priority. So when it comes to mental health, we know that it does affect, especially in certain types of lupus. And now listen out here, lupus, don't get me wrong. I've had lupus for a while, but I still cannot pronounce lupus or motus. I
Erythematous.
cannot.
Yeah,
You can't even pay
erythematosus.
me
Yeah.
to try to say it. Okay, I've tried. It's a tongue twister. I can't get with it. Um, but typically, with patients with that type of lupus, they do tend to have a higher chance of psychosis, personality, mood disorders. There's a much bigger chance for them to run into mental health issues, which is why it is so important to have resources and to have ways of coping. So I'm always advocating that it is always okay to go and get a therapist. Go get somebody that specializes in chronic illnesses, because people would be surprised at how many people are suffering not just from lupus but from other chronic illnesses and are really having to grieve their old self. And there's many other things that come with that. You're learning that the world is not so kind to people with illnesses. They don't prepare you for that. They don't tell you, you know what? There's people out here that are going to look at you and say, but you don't look like you're sick.
Right, right.
You're too young to be sick. You can't possibly have been through all that. And they don't mean to. A lot of people just truly do not understand lupus the way that they should, which is what we're here for, right? We're here to educate people. We're here to advocate for lupus patients. We're here to give them resources and tools. And so when doing that, I do always say, therapy is great. One-on-one therapy, fantastic. I also think that, group therapy when it comes to lupus is important. And the reason that group therapy is especially important is because you need to have people that you are connected to that are suffering from the same thing you are. Because you're going to go into this world and you're going to deal with strangers, family, friends that do not understand what you're going through.
Right.
And it is something that is so difficult that I can't even begin to tell people how painful it can be at times, because you're sitting here thinking, oh, my family loves me, they're always going to support me. My friends, they
Right.
love me, they're always going to support me, and they do. But what happens is, after enough times of canceling plans, or
Mhm.
enough times of, maybe not calling them back enough
Right.
times, or, if you have a spouse or a loved one that helps take care of you, caregiver burnout is a very real thing,
Yeah.
because somebody who might be used to you serving them is now having to serve you, and it's no longer a 50-50 relationship. It's
Right.
becoming more of a, 30, it's the numbers have switched, and so you're having to deal with, what you're going through, your pain,
Right.
your inflammation, your brain fog, and then now you're having to deal with, loved ones who, might not fully understand what you're going through. So an important part of taking care of your mental health with lupus is having a good support system, having
Right.
one-on-one therapy if you can get it, if you can afford it. Next time I'll be a little bit more prepared to have some resources for you guys that she can put up for you. Um, and so therapy, group therapy, good friends and family that are patient with you, that are supporting, that encourage you, and don't let you think or let you get hard on yourself, because it's
Right.
easy to sit there and be like, why is this happening to me? Why me? What is the purpose? And let me tell you that God is never wrong. There's always a purpose for things. And so in my case, I felt that there was multiple purposes. I felt that, yes, I was meant to be an advocate. I was meant to be out here to spread awareness, to let people know. I was blessed to, when I used to do these chats, I educated a lot of people who were completely unfamiliar with lupus, and, educate them. But also at the same time too, there's other people with similar illnesses to ours that are suffering. And so, even if you don't find a specific lupus group, I do, suggest just, joining a chronic illness group, because they're dealing usually a lot of times with the same symptoms that we are. So those
Right.
things are very important. Um,
Absolutely.
you know, Activities, which we know can be very hard because every day is a roll of the dice. I mean, I can tell you my average days are, mornings are the hardest. Mornings and nights are the hardest. So on a good day, I have this small little gap. I have this little window where I get, to be able to maybe, run an errand or do one or two things. And that's on a good day. But then if I overdo it, I'm coming home and I'll
Mhm.
sit down, I'll go to stand up 10 minutes later and my legs will give out, and I have to use a cane or a walker. There's been times where I've even had to have, my caregiver literally carry me to the restroom because I can't,
Mm.
do it on my own. And that's how fast it changes, and for some people that can be really hard to grasp their mind around, because they're like, well, wait a minute, I just saw you an hour ago walking fine and now you're all wobbly like a newborn giraffe. Like, what's going on? So it is difficult for people to understand, and everybody's lupus is different. Everyone's symptoms are different. I think that part of, the mental part of lupus is really keeping your mind busy, because if you are not working, you have a lot of time on your hands and you need to keep yourself busy. You need to be listening to calming music. You need to be, watching things that are positive and uplifting. I have read and done a lot of research on how powerful our words are and all the different things that can contribute to lupus. One of the biggest ones is from a wonderful book called The Body Keeps Score. And I really highly suggest anybody with lupus goes and reads it. Even try your local library if you don't have access to buy one. Definitely read it. It talks about trauma and stress and how it affects your body. And for people who have, been through some things, that absolutely can be part of the reason that you might have lupus. There's many different factors that contribute to having lupus, but I definitely think that stress and trauma plays such a big part. And as we know, that is a very big trigger for lupus. We cannot get stressed, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Tanya over on Facebook said that I found that I had to study yourself and keep notes because
you
you
have
just
to.
Yeah, because lupus does not flare the same way each time, or
Yeah,
because of the same trigger. They can that
exactly.
that can stress your mind and your body. That's definitely going on what you're saying as far as the stress. When you learn to eliminate that stress, you can learn
Yes.
to calm your mind.
Yes. Because if you cannot control your mind and your thoughts, guess what? You probably won't be able to control your lupus either. You could eat all the broccoli and do all the yoga, and it's not going to make a difference if you're not healthy up here. So, a big part of it is truly being kind to yourself. When you have a bad day, don't get down on yourself and say, oh, wow, I had plans and now I can't do it. Or, oh, I had an appointment and now I can't make it. You have to say, you know what? Not a good lupus day. Oh, well, I'm going to stay home and do what I can and be, proactive on, online, or I'm going to sit and find, something that I can read. I know for me, brain fog was and still is a very, very hard part. And I'm on my journey to try to get healthy so I can go back to work. I really miss working and it's been a struggle, but thankfully I have wonderful doctors that are really helping me and a new one who's fantastic. But a few parts of that I wanted to discuss is one, you need to be your own advocate and do your own research. You need to keep track. I want to give you guys a wonderful app that I really want to encourage everybody here to go download. It is called My Pain Diary. And you can go find it on the App Store. I believe Android and Apple have it. I'm not positive, but I know that for sure Apple does. It allows you to keep track of your pain, your where you had your pain, allows you to take pictures if you've had a flare. It allows you to journal and write about your day. It allows you to say where your pain was, and you can add on where your pain is. It allows you to track what you think your trigger was. If you think the sunlight was the trigger, you can select, the sunlight. If you feel that it was because you did too much, you can select that. And what's great about this is it will, you can track everything, and it even includes the weather, because if you have lupus, you know how important the biometric pressure is. So you want to make sure you're tracking that. But it allows you to put it in PDF form and send it to your doctors. My doctors have loved me over the years from being able to track it. Track your lupus.
Yeah.
Stress and anxiety are such a big thing. And so you need to keep track of the days that you're feeling more stress and anxiety, and monitoring what it's doing to your flare and what it's doing to certain parts. So
Yeah,
definitely
and I
keeping
would I
track.
would definitely add, while you're keeping track of those symptoms, keep track of what
Yes.
you're eating. Keep
Yes.
I just talked about this also on my page. You have to be your own best
You do.
advocate.
You do. You have to
And
be your own advocate, and you have to be, in a way, your own doctor. You have to do the
absolutely.
research. You need to be documenting things. You need to be, if you're having a flare, take pictures of your flare. you know Stress and anxiety have such a big role on our health, and it's not just for lupus, it is for many other chronic illnesses as well. One of my least favorite things when it comes to mental health and lupus is when people say, just do some yoga, just do some meditation. I mean, I'm pretty sure with anybody with lupus, if we had a dollar for every time we heard that, we could pay for the world's best treatment to treat our lupuses.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it can be very frustrating because it sounds so easy, right? It sounds so easy to just say, oh, just eat healthy and do this. But sometimes it's not that easy for us. We have to find other outlets and other ways to calm our mind, because we are all different. And the way that our lupus is unique to us is the way that our ways of coping are unique to us. And so we need to make sure that we have good support system. We're trying to either be involved with one-on-one therapy or group therapy, but like-minded people so when you're having a bad day and you feel like, wow, nobody gets me, nobody understands me, have a support system. Have a buddy who one, you can have your best friend, sure, whatever, but also have a lupus best friend or somebody with a chronic illness, because on those days you really need to hear from somebody else so you don't feel like you're crazy sometimes, because it'll make you feel like you're crazy. So really trying to connect with other people with lupus is very important.
How do
um,
you suggest that people learn the mind and body connection?
reading, reading, and I know that sometimes easier said than done when you suffer from really bad brain fog. It took me a very long time to be able to read again, to be able to get through a whole book and not having to reread pages. It took me time and medicine, honestly, to be able to do those things. But I really want to encourage people, go to your local library, go into your health section, and really start checking out all types of books. One on chronic illnesses, lupus, but then also start going and looking into natural remedies for lupus, because there actually is quite a lot. I'm a big fan of Barbara O'Neill and Dr. Sebi. I think that they are extremely educated. They know a lot. If you guys are familiar with Barbara O'Neill, she's real big on TikTok. She is from Australia, and she talks a lot about natural ways to help with your lupus. I've incorporated so many of her things into my daily life. I could show you guys, but I have about 40 vitamin bottles that I, usually not take every day, but I do take on a regular basis. And what I've learned is that medicine that we are prescribed with lupus, it does help with keeping our big flares away. But when it comes to really trying to have a better everyday life, we need to be able to do some reading and see what works for us. We need to not be afraid to try new things. It doesn't mean don't be cautious, but yes, we need to be able to try new things and to be able to be open-minded about things, because there is other ways of, there's no cure. We know that, but hopefully we'll work towards that. We'll get, wonderful scientists and doctors that will, deal with that. But for
Yeah,
now, what we can do is let's see what all works for us.
absolutely. And
Um,
I would just caution you all just to do that with the help of your doctor,
Correct.
and
Yes.
make sure
Always
that you're
consult with
yeah
your doctor.
you make sure
Yes.
you're not just stopping your medications, because I think a lot of
Yeah.
people get it mixed up that holistic health just means
Yes.
herbal remedies, and that's not really the case. I wanted to hit this message here, because I wanted to give Lavella her due diligence, because she said hello all aside. She's in Iceland, and
Oh,
they're
wow.
having a volcanic eruption in Iceland. She said I just graduated from my weekly psychiatrist appointments, just a phone call when needed, also from my monthly nutritionist, and also from every 6 months roomie. I'm on my way to a yearly rheumatologist,
Wow.
and she's so proud of herself. We're proud of you too.
Congratulations.
We're
That is
proud of you
fantastic.
too, and we're proud of your body for
Yes.
cooperating with you. And but
Yes.
I said I wanted to highlight her message because it's important, like you stated, to learn your body, work with your doctors,
Correct.
but also be open
Yes.
your heart to other ways to manage your
Yes.
symptoms and manage what's going on in your life as you
Yes.
deal with lupus, because that really helps with the mental portion of it.
It does. And when you are doing things that are proactive, when you're learning about lupus, you're learning about illnesses. Just in this last 6 months, I learned all kinds of new ways that things can that contribute to being diagnosed with lupus. So besides trauma and stress, which we also know that now that parasites can actually leading with lupus symptoms. There's a lot of different things that can contribute to it. And so making sure that your internal health, of course, is important. But when it comes to the mental health, this is where everybody has to really try to do their best. If you like calming music, you have to play calming music before you go to sleep. I like to use what is it, healing frequencies off of YouTube. And so I will listen to those. It's very calming, peaceful at night. I have a little hypnotherapy app that I love that just kind of trains your brain to be more positive and to, be a little bit more kinder to yourself when you're going through stuff. I think that, it's sometimes hard, as I said, to find that perfect thing that really helps you to calm down when you're feeling stressed in the moment. But practicing breathing techniques, being able to go outside, which I know sometimes for some of us, it's really hard to be able to get up and even do that. And so just being able to, even if you have to get in a wheelchair and have somebody push you and take you for a little walk and go do something, get out of the house, because staying in the house and doing all of that will truly make it worse if you are not, really trying to, if you're just sitting in the house all day, you're going to have too much time to think and to get sad. So it's important to keep your mind busy, whether it's reading, movies, hanging out with friends. You have to keep your mind busy. And when you do have a bad lupus day, even if you're not feeling it, you need to tell yourself, it's okay. It's okay to be sitting down. I'm not mad at myself. I love myself. I'm happy that I'm sitting down. Another great book I want to encourage you guys to read is You Are the Words That You Speak. Because if you are constantly talking about, oh, I feel awful. I can't get up. I can't do this. Force yourself to stop doing that. I want you guys to be very conscious with what you are saying, because you are what you speak. So if you are sitting there telling you have to remember, you're almost speaking a curse over your life when you're talking negative.
Right.
So you have to train yourself, even with your lupus, because it's so easy when we meet people, when we're talking to friends and family, to just talk about, oh my gosh, I'm hurting so much. And there's nothing wrong with expressing yourself and expressing how you feel, but try to train yourself to say things in a new way. Say, you know what, I don't feel great today, but I think tomorrow will be a better day. You have to find a way to really reprogram your mind to be more positive, because it's so easy to get down on ourselves.
How do you suggest that people do that? How can you
Practice.
begin?
It's not an overnight thing. It is not an overnight thing. I'm not going to mislead you and say, oh, you're going to start tomorrow. You have to start being very conscious of your every word. And sometimes that does require meditation. Sometimes it requires, just the ability to, even what I would suggest is take a timer when you are out with friends and set it for 5 minutes. And every 5 minutes, I want you to check in and think about what the words you just spoke in those last 5 minutes and say, were those positive things that I was saying?
Right.
And I think there's a saying that's, when you speak, you think, is it kind? Is it necessary? Is it useful? Think about those things, because it does make a difference. You don't think it does, but over time, it absolutely does. So speaking kind words, trying to encourage yourself to remember that you are not alone in this. You have other people. Follow lupus pages, read lupus memes, things that can help you feel less alone, feel better. Have a good support system. Read, push your doctors, make them do their job, because I promise you they won't unless you're giving them a kick in the butt. Be open, as I said, to learning about other things. Of course, don't get off your medications. Consult with your doctors, but be open to learning about other routes. I just recently got a wonderful new doctor who I'm working with, and she's actually trying to find funding for me right now so we can try some of the therapies that are not covered by, insurance, unfortunately, which as a lot of us know, there is things out there that are helpful for lupus, but they're not always covered. I found that cryotherapy is wonderful for inflammation. When I was having really bad lupus flares and was super red and just struggling, cryotherapy was fantastic, but it wasn't covered by my insurance. Um, you know, One of the things that there's two things my doctor plans on doing with me. One is NAD infusions. NAD is kind of been a newer thing that people have been talking about this last year or two. I encourage you guys to read up on it and learn about it. NAD, they do sell it in supplement form. However, they do also do infusions, which for that particular supplement, it is better for infusions. So she's trying to find funding for that. And then we're also looking into stem cell therapy, which is kind of a controversial therapy, but it is something that has been proven to be really effective. And those are things that I'm trying. And, if you would have asked me 5 years ago, I probably would have been like, I don't know if I want to try that. But when you really want to fight to get your life as normal as possible, I promise you, you're going to do anything you can and meet with 5, 10 doctors if you have to get second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth opinions, because I've had a lot of doctors, and it wasn't until I got to this one where she was really encouraging and showed me studies. She does more work for me than any doctor I've had before. I mean, goes above and beyond.
And
So
that's important. That's
it
important
is.
for you to have that doctor that can help you see different ways to handle your lupus,
Hmm.
especially if you've tried so many different things that did not work. You
Yes.
have to be open to try other things.
Yes. And in fact, you know what? I'll even give her a shout out. Her name is Dr. Sarah Udor. And this lady is not only a psychiatrist, which is why I say, she's wonderful, because she's kind of an all in one doctor. With lupus, as I said, it can cause depression, anxiety, mood swings, a lot of things to happen. And if you are living with roommates, friends, family, some of it is not in your control, but some of it can be in your control. It really depends on you and the work that you're doing. I really feel strongly about, it is important to be around other people with lupus.
Right.
Join groups, join chats, come up and speak and share your story, because you are not alone. You are so strong, and all of us, we fight a battle that most people couldn't possibly fathom on a daily basis. And there is parents out here that are getting up and feeding their kids in the worst pain and doing these types of things. And I especially parents, people who kind of have a daily life that kind of does require a certain level of stress, almost finding a way to cope with things and make your life easier. One of the things that I had to learn was, okay, what can I do to simplify certain things in my life? I would make a list of the things that would stress me out. I made a list of the things that were really just putting too much anxiety and stress on me. And I broke them down one by one. What can I do about this? How can I handle it? Is it something that I could have somebody help me with? Or is this something that I need to change my mindset about, or how I view it, or monitoring my time better, or my energy levels? Because as we know, we're only given, even on a good day, a certain level of energy, and then we're kind of done, right?
Right.
So managing time is important. I also suffer from ADHD. And so, one of the things that I like to do for myself, because of my brain fog, is that I will set timers for myself. Like, if I'm feeling good enough to where I feel like, okay, maybe I can do just a little bit of cleaning, I'll set timers for myself. Do that with your body. If you know that you can only do, let's say, 20 minutes of cleaning, make a short goal list, because it's very easy for us to make lists and say, oh God, I've only accomplished one thing on that list.
Right.
That's okay.
Right.
Make a list, right? And tell yourself realistically, what are the two that I can actually do today? What are the two that I can actually accomplish?
Right.
Because it's so much easier said than done to, look at a list and say, oh, I'm going to get it all done today and then not be able to do it.
Right.
So learning to say, okay, I know I have lupus. I know that I need to be kind to myself. So let me make a list of 5 things. But realistically, I'm only going to know in my head, I'll only be able to accomplish 2. And if I'm able to accomplish the rest, great. But if not, I'm still going to be kind to myself. I'm still going to be understanding. I'm still going to say, you know what? I'm okay.
And
I did what I could.
that's important. I see people on
Yes.
Instagram are saying, it's okay to pace yourself and know that it's okay to give yourself grace, like you just said. It's all they're also saying, but also know on those good days, we go hard some days and then be like,
Mm-hmm.
what did I do later?
Yeah.
So definitely learning how to respond to your lupus, respond to the
Mm-hmm.
good days, respond to the bad days in a different way by changing your
Correct.
mindset.
Yeah. Because, we are all with lupus, we're all kind of figuring out our own puzzle, right? And it really does mean taking care of what you're eating, watching what you're eating, right? Making sure that we're not, eating too many greasy foods, high fat, high sugars. We're eating, a pretty decent diet. Okay, I don't expect anybody to be perfect because we're not. And then dealing with, the physical aspect, right? Sometimes it's hard to get up out of bed and go to work. There is great resources, and I'm sorry, I'll provide them more next time, but um, there is great resources, for going online and looking for exercises that you can even do from bed. You have to keep your body moving. You need to be active. So trying to, if you don't have a lot of good days, I get it. It will come, but I get it. So on your bad days, learning to do some exercises from bed. On your good days, even if it's just 20 minutes, even if it's just 10, get yourself out of the house, take a walk, do some stretches, do some exercises, do something for your body. You need to be constantly trying to keep your body moving, because a body that stays in motion, right, is going to be a lot easier to deal with than a body that's been sedentary for a long time. So
Absolutely.
keeping your body moving.
And
So
we do those Fit
Fit
Fridays for,
Fridays, yeah.
just for
Right.
people who know it's hard to get up.
Yeah.
And you are so right. You have to take it step
Yeah.
by step.
You
And
do.
you can build up from there, whether it's marching
Yes.
in place for 5 minutes and then building up to moving outside to
Yes.
walking for 5 minutes. It's all helpful for your body and it
Yes.
helps your mental health.
Yeah. It's as I said, it's a puzzle. It is, you're needing to focus on your mental health, your physical health, what you're putting in your body, making sure that you have a good support system around you, making sure that if you have a bad day, you have a list of things that you can do and not feel guilty if you're not able to
Right.
accomplish the other things that might require more from you. And so just learning to be patient with yourself, which I'm a person who's not very patient. So it took me quite a while to learn how to be patient with myself. Self love is truly important. We need to love ourselves regardless of what our body's going through. Because a lot of times with lupus, if you have been through trauma and stress, your body was in a fight or flight state constantly. So
Mhm.
when your body is able to really calm down and relax, you will see a difference in your lupus. I promise you. You know, learning to, speak positively, have a good support system, getting outside, listening to your favorite music, listening to things that are just positive. I encourage people to utilize YouTube. Go on YouTube, look up positive affirmations, look up frequency healing, listen to peaceful things while you're sleeping. It's so beneficial. Even when you first wake up in the morning, take a few minutes to just write what you're grateful for. Write a little gratitude list, because as much as it feels like we've been robbed of so much in our lives, we still have so much to be grateful for, and we need to focus on that. So
Absolutely.
focusing on what you do have, because it's so easy to be sad about all the things that we feel we don't, especially if you have stopped working, it can be very difficult. So really giving yourself extra love if you are not able to work, if you are in a hospital room, keep yourself busy, have little activities. I have a whole station next to my bed that has everything I could need, so I don't have to worry about getting out of bed and hurting even more. I keep all of my vitamins. I keep, a little book, a reading light. I keep tissue and hand sanitizer. Have a little station next to
Yeah.
your bed, and have some books and some things that just bring you joy, even pictures.
Yeah.
Hang up a lot of pictures that when you look at it, you just smile. Things that truly make you happy,
Yeah. Make that
because only
environment
you know
inviting.
exactly. An inviting, peaceful environment. Your room and your couch are probably the two places you spend the most time a lot of times, right? So we need to make those peaceful. So I encourage people to get like an oil diffuser, a humidifier, get some nice lighting in your room, get really comfy blankets and pillows, hang up pictures of family and friends, even words of affirmation. Put some up on your wall, put up new ones all the time, so that way you're not kind of seeing the same thing all the time. Put up words every day that encourage you to be positive, and really remind yourself that if you're not loving yourself, it's going to be really hard for your lupus to kind of be calm. You
Yes.
need to love yourself.
So important. So
Yeah.
important. Everything that Chanel has stated are simple things that you can do and that
Yes.
you can change today. So
Yes.
I love that you were able to give us those little gems that will help us along the way, because it's all about coping and balancing
Yes.
it all out.
Yes.
So we're going to start wrapping up because I want to be respectful of your time. I can't believe that we've been sitting here talking for an hour
I
almost.
know it went by so fast.
It always goes by so quickly.
I
I
know.
love everything that you have said, everything that you have given advice on regarding mental health and how to keep
Thank you.
that stabilized as
Yeah.
we deal with lupus. If you
Yes.
could leave our listeners with one thing to do right now to get into a space of calm and serenity, what would it be?
A gratitude list, writing out the things that you still have to wake up for, things that truly bring your heart joy. If it's your kids, write your kids. If it's your husband, write your husband. If it's your dog, write your dog. And that was actually something I meant to touch on. Animals are a great way to relieve stress, to lower blood pressure, just to be calm. So, utilize the things that you have. Oh, excuse me. um, but just start writing what you're grateful for. Put it
Absolutely.
somewhere where you can look at it every day. Write out things, track your symptoms, learn about your lupus, read, go to your library, get out for walks, do things that make you happy, because only you know what makes you happy. So,
Absolutely.
I really want to thank you so much for having me on. Like,
Oh, I
it's an
so
honor.
appreciate it. I
I
so
appreciate it.
appreciate
I
it.
love your, excuse me.
You're good.
I love your guys's chat, your page, and
Oh, good.
I
I'm
want to
so
encourage
happy.
everybody to, follow Raquel, and please just, thank you so much for all you've done for people with lupus,
Oh, thank
because
you.
it is pages like yours that, sometimes on bad days really do help me get through things. So
Oh,
thank
great.
you for
Oh,
that, because truthfully, it's been such a journey, and it's so easy to fall into sadness or depression. So
absolutely.
thank you for all your positivity
Oh,
and
thank
just
you.
all you've done for people with lupus. Thank you.
Oh, I so appreciate that. I so appreciate you. I'm so happy that we're connected and that we're
Yes.
able to have more sessions like this where we
Yes.
can give just great information that helps people live day to day beyond
Yes.
lupus. So thank you so much for
Yes.
tuning in. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on. We've had people on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You've had so many people coming in and out and just listening to your great information, and I so appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much. And, I will be posting some resources later on today on my page. And I will
Give
send
us
some
your
over to
page
you to
again.
post on yours as well. My page is just at Coco Chanel Adair. So Coco Chanel, Chanel, and then Adair, Adair. And I will post some more resources for you guys. And again, please follow Lupus in Color, and make sure you're always showing Raquel love, because it is pages like this that allow us to have kind of some relief when we're struggling. So
Thank you
thank
so
you
much.
all so much. I appreciate you
Thank
guys
you.
listening. Thank you, Raquel, and I
Not a
appreciate you.
problem. Not a problem. Go ahead and go get in that pool. I wish it
Oh
wasn't
no,
raining.
I already went. Now I actually I'm going to physical therapy. That's where I'm going
Okay,
now.
well,
So
that's even
yes,
better. All
yes,
right. Well, thank you so much, Chanel. I'm so
no
appreciative of
problem.
you, and I love the fight in you. Thank you so
Thank you. You
much.
have a great day,
You
and bye
too.
everybody. You guys take care.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I so appreciate you all. Have a great rest of your evening. Make sure you're following Chanel on her page at Coco Chanel Adair. And I so appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Thank you and have a great evening. Bye bye.